Hi guys, today I want to talk about Brian Buchanan. Actually, with this video, I'm going to start with something that I call Superstars of Muscleworks. So I'm going to be talking about the best bodybuilders, the professional bodybuilders that came out of Muscleworks. People that I met, people that I know, people that I train with, people that I'm very good friend with. And I believe they deserve a bit more attention. This is why I'm doing this video, and I'm going to start, as I said, with Brian Buchanan, who was a top contender, one of the best bodybuilders in the world. Brian was very famous, known actually for his very small waist and broad shoulders. He had a very, very unique physique. It's probably the biggest ratio between shoulders and waist, because he had massive shoulders and he had a literally 25-6 inches waist, very, very small waist. So as you can see on these photos, in every pose you can see that waist is very small, midsection is all in. But Brian used to do a lot of vacuum poses, like, you know, when he does double biceps, the whole abdomen will actually go in. Something very strange to today's bodybuilding world, but this is how it used to be. Brian Buchanan has a massive physique. He has massive arms, back, chest. He was extremely strong. And I knew about Brian Buchanan from the bodybuilding magazines, from Flex and Muscle and Fitness. And when I came in '93 to Muscleworks, Brian was there. Not just Brian, other people as well, very famous bodybuilders. And then this is how I met Brian in '93. One thing to say about him, I hope he's watching this video, and he was, I have to say, I mean, it was very, very friendly. It was very amazing. I mean, it's just, you never know the guy in your life. You meet him first time, and all of a sudden he's talking to you. You ask him anything you want, he would say answers to you. He was very polite, and he was always smiling. This is something unseen, and I remember that smile. I mean, every time I would see him in the gym, he was always smiling, he was always positive. He had simply every reason to be negative. This is a great attitude in life. So thing to say about Brian was very, very much appreciated by other professional bodybuilders, and he looked so he looked amazing. He was so unbelievable. He won every single professional title in NABA and VABA, Mr. Universe. So he was professional Mr. Universe in NABA and VABA, and then he turned later on in late 80s, he turned into IFBB. Unfortunately, in IFBB, he didn't have the same success. He wanted to win Mr. Olympia, but I think his best placement was 5th or 6th. He attempted a couple of times. He realized it's not going to happen. I believe one of the reasons was that he was already NABA and VABA man, and IFBB didn't want to give him the title easy. Maybe he would win one day, but you know, Lee Haney was IFBB man. There were other guys in IFBB, so it was a bit difficult. There is definitely some politics going on there, but that doesn't take away this the fame from Brian Buchanan. I mean, Brian was regarded as a wonder of nature. I remember the day we were all there. We would gather in Muscleworks around 10, 11 o'clock. Amory would be there, Tayo, JD, Gemma would be there, Saf, Brian Buchanan, Pat Nichols would come as well. And we will all come in that kind of time, Ian Wadley as well. So Lenny was there. We would be there around 10:30, 11. This is when we start training. Like, there was a bunch of extremely serious bodybuilders, and we simply had to be there at that time. And I remember one day we are all there just about to start training, and Brian walks in, and he was preparing for some show or some exhibition, something like that, and he was dieting. So everybody started, I remember Pat Nichols starts to say, oh, come on, show us, we want to see your form, we see how far. I said, no, I'm not really in shape. And then Patrick would nag him. So finally he would come in front of the mirror. I remember we were all around him waiting to see how far he went, how prepared he is. And Patrick would say, here comes the beauty. And then he would start taking his sweater slowly up, and he would take it up all the way off. And we were all like in shock. All you see is extremely small waist, extremely hard abdominals, and then he would hit double biceps. And we were all like taken away by that. So Patrick called him the beauty and the princess, because he was so amazing that you simply couldn't find the words to express yourself. Now, what I want to tell you is what I've seen. I've seen a lot of articles on internet and also on YouTube. People talk about Brian Buchanan, and obviously mainly about his small waist, but there is very little about his training and his diet. There is a little bit there, but I don't agree with that because I've seen different. So I'm going to tell you what I've seen, what I experienced, what I got from him, because I talked to him on a daily basis. We were all there, we all talked to each other, exchanging experience and knowledge. And when it comes to training, Brian used to train with extremely heavy weights. He believed that big gains can only be achieved with extremely heavy weights, and for that purpose he trained in loose style. So bear in mind, he didn't agree with strict form. And I remember him, for example, doing biceps. We had a old universal machine with a cable, so there was like around, I don't know, probably 70-80 kgs, maybe more. And then you can use, there was a cable at the bottom, the pulley was at the bottom, so you can use it for biceps curls or upright rows. And he loved that machine, and he would use the whole stack, and he would do not too much cheating, but cheating every single rep. So he didn't really appreciate strict form, because obviously he benefited from a lot of cheating, and that worked for him. So basically he would say, well, I'm not saying this is the best way of training, but what I'm saying to you, it worked for me, so it's entirely up to you. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because you should really stay away from those patterns and rules, because we humans, we are not necessarily clones, we are not softwares, we don't really respond to the same diet or same training principle, and we really need to find individually what works for us. What works for me may not work for you. Maybe you need to train like Serge Nubret, or maybe you need to train like Brian Buchanan. There may be the reasons for that, maybe physiological reasons. It may be the density and the number of your white muscle fibers, type 2B muscle fibers, etc. Science trying to explain a lot of things, but I don't think that there will ever be exact rules that will apply to everyone. So this is something interesting. You need to hear this in order to understand that there are different training systems, different methods. I personally don't like cheating too much. I hardly cheat at all, but that works for me. For Brian Buchanan, cheating was normal type of training. He always said that Bertil Fox was also training with a lot of cheating, and Bertil Fox was one of the biggest guys in the bodybuilding world. And he said, well, Bertil Fox was doing that, and I wanted to try. I tried the same thing, and it worked for me. So I remember, for example, training back, and we would start with pull-ups. We do one set around 7, 8. His number, he would always do between 5 and 7 reps. Never more than that. I never saw him doing more than that. So he would do like 7 reps with the body weight. Then we would put some weight, a dumbbell, usually put a belt with a chain, and then we attach the dumbbell to that. And the second set will be the dumbbell, I think about 20 kg dumbbell. The third set will be 30 kg. Fourth set will be 50 kgs. I would probably stop there, but then Brian would go another set, and he would do maybe with 60, 70 kg dumbbell, another 5 to 7 reps. So 4 sets would usually be his preferable choice of sets. Sometimes he would do 5, but usually 4 sets per exercise, and there will always be 4 exercises per muscle group. So there will be 2 pulling movements for back and 2 rowing movements, for example. Obviously, bent over rowing was done with considerable cheating, but there were like 3, 4, sometimes 5 plates each side, 5 to 7 reps always. This was something to remember. He said, I asked him, why you always do 7 reps? Why don't you do 8 or 10? Well, he says, I don't know, it just works for me. So this is what I remember. For example, doing bench press, Brian Buchanan would never go all the way down and all the way up. He said, this is the safest range of motion I can do. And it keeps the tension in your chest. And obviously the same, again, it will be start with 2 plates each side, 7 reps, then 3, then 4, then 4.5, then 5. Extremely heavy weights. The same applies for squatting. Soft things that his legs were not as big enough because he didn't do enough reps for legs. Quite possible, and I agree with that. But that was the way that Brian Buchanan did. And what worked for his upper body probably didn't work exactly very well for his legs. He maybe could have had bigger legs, but he kept his number of reps down to 5, 7. He was always pyramiding. He was going up in weights, but the reps will stay the same. And I can say that the last set, or maybe just the last 1 or 2, were really all-out sets. And not all of them were all-out. Obviously, they couldn't be all-out because if you go up and up in weight and you keep the number of reps the same, all these previous sets are not all-out. So probably I can say definitely the last set was all-out, but sometimes the last 2. If we do like the third set would be 7 all-out reps, and then the fourth set would be 5 all-out reps. So sometimes it will be 2, but definitely 1 all-out set per exercise. So this is when it comes to training. Just to summarize, he will do 4 different movements per muscle group, 4 to 5 sets per exercise, and 5 to 7 reps as well per set. Now, when it comes to diet, it's interesting that he followed something that bodybuilders in 70s and 80s obviously followed, most of them, and this is high protein, high fat diet. Brian was known to eat a lot. He would eat like a beast. I mean, I remember eating with him a few times. We go to Tesco and get chicken, for example, 1 for him, 1 for me, and he would eat the whole chicken with the skin. And also he would eat white bread. He would have few slices of white bread. He said, why don't you eat brown bread? No, he said, I don't like it. Just white bread is good for me. So it would be a whole chicken in a meal. Brian would have 3-4 chickens a day. 3-4 meals, 3-4 chickens. Very straightforward, with some white bread, yes. I would eat hardly half a chicken, and then I would keep another half for maybe the next meal. But the amount of food he would eat in one go, it was incredible. And still, you are wondering, how is that possible when his waist and his abdomen is so small? I remember also there was a shop, kebab shop, where we used to buy kebabs. This was like a chicken breast on the skewers, and the large kebab was like 2 skewers. It was like probably two good chicken breasts on that, and that was delicious. So I remember having 1 large kebab, and Brian would have 3. So imagine 6 skewers of chicken breast. So they'd probably be talking 5-6 chicken breasts in 1 meal. Brian, I never saw him eating more than 4 times a day. 3 to 4 was his usual diet, but never more than that. Never 6-7 times. Now, what is interesting is that before the show, he kept it very simple. He would eat 4 meals a day. I remember that exactly. It would be each meal would be 2 meals would be 2 tins of tuna per meal, and another 2 meals would be 2 or 3 chicken breasts. Now, every single meal, obviously very high in protein, he would add another potato, medium-sized potato. So we had 4 meals with 4 potatoes, and as he started his preparation, he would keep it like for 2-3 weeks, and then in the next 2 weeks he would take 1 potato out. So he would continue with 3 potatoes instead of 4. as he goes further, he drops another one down, so he ends up with 2 potatoes. And then he drops another one, and if necessary, he would drop the last one, so he would just end up having 4 to 6 chicken breasts a day and 4 tins of tuna, all split in 4 meals. And that's it. And that diet on 0 carbs, obviously very low fat, it was something that will bring him into condition good enough to win all these professional shows in WABA, NABA, and to place in Olympia in top 6 whenever he entered. So Brian didn't do any cardio. He was training once, maybe sometimes twice a day. That second session would be very, very light, maybe abs or something like that. But hardly ever, I haven't seen him doing cardio. Sometimes he would say that he does a little bit of bike, maybe 20 minutes, just to break the sweat, he says, and that's enough, nothing more than that. So basically, he kept his diet very simple. It was just chicken and beef in the off season, as I said, 3 to 4 chickens a day, and before the show it would be chicken breast and tuna in brine or water. So very basic, very simple. Training, again, extremely heavy, loose form, cheating, and as you could have seen on all these photos that I posted during the video, he managed to achieve some incredible physique. I always remember he smiled. I think Brian is now in Australia. I haven't seen him for over a decade, I believe, and I hope he's doing well. Somebody really exceptional. Probably the most unique bodybuilder when it comes to his waist to shoulders ratio and overall impression. Another one coming from MuscleWorks, probably the most famous, with the highest success in competitive bodybuilding. Brian Buchanan is a superstar of MuscleWorks, a famous MuscleWorks in London. And in the next video, I'm going to be talking about Patrick Nichols, who is another professional bodybuilder and who came out of MuscleWorks as well. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and also post a comment. And I will see you in the next video when I continue with Superstars of MuscleWorks. Until then, take care and keep pumping.